This moment is not really about a single hearing exchange. It is about the growing gap between what immigration enforcement is supposed to be and what it is actually becoming. Lou Correa starts by making something very clear that often gets lost in these debates. There is broad agreement that violent criminals should be removed from communities.
Gentleman from California, Mr. Correa, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I agree with my colleague from Texas. It is a tale of two cities. Secretary Noem, Trump administration, you're going after the worst of the worst criminals, and we agree with you. The problem is 70% of the people you've arrested have no criminal record. You're going after non-criminal immigrants, U.S. citizens, and permanent legal residents. Donna Hughes Brown, Irish citizen, green card holder, 48 years in the United States. She also happens to be the mother of a U.S. Marine, sister to a retired Army colonel. She's in ICE detention since July. She tried to come back from Ireland, arrested, has been there since then. Her crime? She wrote 2 bad checks for less than $80 a decade ago. You arrested her, she's in custody. Her husband, Jim Brown, came to us and told us her story. Jim told us, I voted for President Trump because he promised to go after criminals in our community and not people like my wife. If I can, I'd like to play a video for you. Then he also voted for President Trump.
Yes, sir.
Why did you vote for him?
Because I was an idiot. 80% of the evangelical Christian people were lied to, if you really want to know the truth, and that's exactly what happened. They said criminal, and I believe criminals need to be off the street.
I just want to make sure people watching this understand who you are.
My wife and I, when we don't work, we're ministers. We help the needy. That's what we do. And that's who they're arresting.
Now, we've got Mr. Jim Brown before you. He's standing up. Hopefully you can talk to him a little bit. These people, Donna Hughes Brown, are not the individuals that should be deported. Another case, Narciso Barranco was beaten and arrested by masked agents while working as a landscaper. He's an undocumented immigrant, 30 years in this country, not a traffic ticket. Mr. Barranco is also the father of 3 U.S. Marines. 3 Marines. You want to make a movie of people like this. A man who comes to this country, instills patriotism in his kids. They swear an oath to serve and possibly give up their life for this country. We'll play a video on this as well, please.
Masked federal agents were filmed pinning a man to the ground and repeatedly striking him in the head and neck before putting him in an unmarked car. The man in the video has been identified as Narciso Barranco and is the father of 2 active duty Marines and 1 Marine veteran. The Department of Homeland Security said an illegal alien was arrested by Border Patrol agents after he, quote, assaulted federal law enforcement, adding that Barranco, quote, swung a weed whacker directly at an agent's face. Video shared by DHS and reviewed by CNN shows Barranco running with a weed whacker, but does not show him striking officers.
I also have with us today Alex Barranco behind you, a retired Marine. That's his father. And Alex, on behalf of myself, members here, I want to thank you for your service to our country, and we also thank your brothers for serving our great country. Thank you very much. Got another case. George Rete, 25-year-old, native of California, my home state. He's a U.S. citizen, Army veteran who served in Iraq. Well, on his way to work, he came to an immigration checkpoint, pulled over. I don't know where officers deployed tear gas on him, broke his car window, pepper sprayed him, and dragged him out of his car. An American citizen held for 72 hours without any charges, wasn't even given the opportunity to shower, to Wash off that paper
Gentleman's
spray.
time's expired. I now recognize the gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Guest.
Mr. Chairman, I have 2 articles I'd like to present for the record.
Unanimous consent.
Under President Trump, an agency intended to keep Americans safe has diverted resources from child abuse, trafficking, and terrorism to immigration enforcement. Second is this letter from my Orange County Sheriff, Don Barnes, essentially talking about all the individuals under Prop 50 referred to ICE 2025 year to date. 50 of them.
Without objection.
ICE never showed up to pick them up.
Without
Mr.
objection.
Chairman?
I will
Mr. Chairman?
entertain, UCs at the.
That is not controversial. What is controversial, and what Correa exposes, is who is actually being targeted. When he points out that roughly 70% of those arrested have no criminal record, the conversation shifts from public safety to proportionality and judgment. That statistic alone forces viewers to rethink the narrative they have been hearing. Correa then grounds that data in real lives, because policy only becomes real when you see who it touches. Donna Hughes Brown is not a hypothetical example. She is a lawful permanent resident who has lived in the United States for nearly half a century. She is the mother of a U.S. Marine and the sister of a retired Army colonel. Her offense was writing 2 bad checks totaling less than $80 more than 10 years ago. Yet she is sitting in ICE detention. That contrast is the point. Enforcement that treats someone like Donna Brown as a priority is not narrowly focused on danger. It is indiscriminate. When Correa plays Jim Brown's video, the hearing stops being abstract entirely. Jim Brown is not an activist or a politician. He is a husband, a minister, and a voter who believed the promise that immigration enforcement would be about removing criminals, not tearing apart families like his. His regret is not framed as partisan. It is framed as betrayal. Viewers are meant to understand that trust in government erodes when rhetoric and reality diverge this sharply. The case of Narciso Barranco deepens that concern. Barranco has lived in the United States for 30 years without a criminal record. He raised children who went on to serve as U.S. Marines. Yet he is shown on video being beaten and arrested by masked agents while working as a landscaper. Correa does not ask people to choose which version of events to believe. He lets the video speak. The discrepancy between DHS's official explanation and what the footage shows raises serious questions about accountability, use of force, and transparency. By acknowledging Barranco's children and thanking them for their service, Correa highlights a moral contradiction that is hard to ignore. Immigrant families are good enough to surprise soldiers willing to die for this country, but not good enough to be treated with dignity and restraint at home. The final example pushes the stakes even further. George Rhee is not an undocumented immigrant. He is a U.S. citizen and an Army veteran who served in Iraq. Yet he is violently detained at an immigration checkpoint, held for 3 days without charges, and denied basic care. This is the moment where the issue stops being about immigration status at all. It becomes about what happens when enforcement loses discipline and oversight. When mistakes are this severe, no one is immune. Taken together, Correa's remarks are a warning. When agencies chase numbers instead of threats, when masked officers operate without clear identification, and when force is used without accountability, the damage spreads far beyond the people initially targeted. It undermines trust in law enforcement, disrespects military families, and weakens the rule of law itself. This exchange is meant to help viewers understand that immigration policy is not just about borders. It is about values, restraint, and whether government power is being used with care or with blunt force. If you want to stay informed about how these policies are affecting real people, real veterans, and real families, follow the channel, share this video, and keep paying attention. Accountability only works when the public is watching.